You have your wife, that's the only thing that counts. To me, it does. So, conscious. It's about Theis, Diono, Evolut, which means to me ideas of the living, constructed, spirits evolving to something. That's basically the idea. So, first we have to define what is conscious. It's interesting, it's important. Because conscious rebels against it. You don't want to define, oh yeah, no. And that's correct. You always know who you are because you imagine yourself. It's not matter. It's always the case. That's why you're always yourself. But not quite. A few consequences for this. Which means the essence constructed, the construction of your essence is evolving, in a sense. But yourself, your conscious, your guiding light, is rebelling. What just happened with me, I don't know if it happened with other people. No, you will not. Oh, no, you will not. You will not define me, you will not tell me something. That is okay. Exactly. So here your conscious is raging against it. And for that you have a soul that is not one, but also not nothing, something, but it's not in balance, it's not in the equilibrium. So your being doesn't know much, but it knows there's something of yourself. So it's something, not know something, right? It's like something if you go to the theater or to the movies or to a nice dinner. Your being knows like this could be, I don't know, it could be that, it could do that, so many opportunities. So from that there comes evolution and monotony in German, which is singularity. It's completely opposed to each other. Evolution generates new ideas and influences, and evolution is more complex than Darwin's theory. It's that certain aspects, certain processes, certain developmental characteristics and ideas construct alternatives. For example, if you have a tree and you have doesn't exist, right? I mean, it does, but it doesn't matter. These trees, if you have, for example, have trees and some, but no one ever realizes. Doesn't matter though. So trees and some fruity aspects, forest plants, not particular fruits or berries. I don't know what to call that. What is it actually? It is existing in the forests, just not so obvious. So, serenades. This is it. My idea. Oh, something like the things that hang from trees, you know? Or the thing where berries grow from. Or rivers. Berries, nice, quite interesting. Pollen. It's nice, pollen is nice, alright. but you have to use it correctly. So, monotony, meaning singularity, is in fact atheism or religion, because it's a dogma. Like if you, it doesn't mean atheism is a dogma, but religion always is. Because singularity means you either believe in a lot of religions, or different gods, all kinds of, or you believe yourself you're God, but that's actually essentially the point. If you're an atheist, you can believe also you're a God. It doesn't matter. Just don't accept anyone else as a God. In a sense that they're also gods, but it doesn't matter because there's no God ruling, so it's atheism. But worse than that, if it's a singularity and you accept evolution, doesn't mean atheism is bad. But if you accept evolution on a certain aspect, meaning that the world's the only thing that exists, so, or it's just from your perspective, and further, you don't assign something supreme to it, you must assume, in my mind, that the singularity evolves on its own. And it's all one. It's all the same energy. Come and believe. Doesn't mean atheism need to do that. Said evolution is more complex, and atheism doesn't need to accept that it's a singularity. Can have ideas of something that's like religion, circular reasoning, for reason, which could be a dogma when you have a not so smart religion, still a religion. Evolution and singularity does, though, disprove each other, except for one thing, and then you can't really be an atheist unless you believe really weird stuff, like I do. So, true for the spirit. If you look at the spirit, you're a singularity, but you're evolving. But at the same time, you're a singularity. You have an essence, something like that, soul, whatever. And that only goes, everything is from, no, not from God, exactly. Not for God either. It's God's. And this is just a plan. Some experiment to go here. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's an existence plan. It doesn't matter. I know. Or war doesn't. So now we come to free will, free choice. Your decisions caused by ideas. And they construct ideas. They fellowship ideas. And you are not supposed to diminish the free will of another person. It's logic. If you follow this rule, free will, your decisions should not do that. I mean, impose your will on someone else, oppose it, and nor enforce it, and there's no or in it. Okay? So oppose or enforce is not going here. It's oppose and nor enforce. Why is that the case? Well, if you diminish the will of someone else, you literally have lost something in your free will. You need to work for that. If you would do it, I mean, it does work like that, I think. So the point being here, it's not coherent with your own beliefs. Worse than that, you would diminish the global will, the will of everyone, together as a free collective. No matter how, free will always forms consequences. So more than that, you would if you're not inside of that reality of something like a collective, it's even different. Then the second one doesn't go. The first one doesn't really follow, kind of. But more than that, in neither case you if you're outside the reality, it doesn't matter much to a certain degree. But that's not the point. Like you could justify evil by perspective, if, in a sense. It's kind of. You shouldn't, but you could. It's wrong, but it's not impossible that you could then try to secure like that territory over the person, and then you would just have more wounds. It wouldn't just matter that much, but it's not of importance because it's wrong and it shouldn't be done because it's free will. And now you get, in my mind, why it's not possible, because if you're viewing all of this from a moral perspective, it's not good. Don't do it if you have free choice. Why? There's so much opportunities. Don't do it. And the question is now, why is there an end norm? Well, you should not oppose the will of someone else if you try to manipulate it, and you should neither enforce nor will to oppose it. It's not so difficult. Why is that the case? Well, the question remains, if you hold true that for yourself, why don't you hold it true for others if you just base it on free will? Right, myself? So let's go to the next slide. It's about theory. So, yeah, each theory must follow the rules of consciousness. Otherwise, you don't have any perspective, any subjective perspective you could use it on. And for that, you don't have a construct in which you ground your idea. It's simple. If you try to do that, like impose and force anything, you don't suddenly have a construct on which the other person should not react. Not of bonds. Okay. And the perspective of yours would just be gone. Like, you couldn't do anything anymore. It's impossible. Because the person could just react. You can't just manipulate the person anymore. So theories, if you want to make them in a manipulative way, won't do what you wish for them to do, but very important, free will is needed for a theory. So theories require A. The rest is irrelevant, but for that you can never base a theory on something like true evil. Not true. You could, but not really. So now we come to slide 5. Ah, yes. It's irrelevant, morally speaking. Yeah. Because the pendulum is not necessary, and for that it's irrelevant. And the pendulum is that you use perspective against free will and therefore force an idea into the theory of someone. It's irrelevant because it's not relevant if you don't view it morally relevant, and if your theory doesn't require A, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant. So determinism. What's next thing about determinism? It's like also kind of weird, because it's irrelevant. It's just irrelevant. Everything is determined. Whatever happens, happens if you view determinism as just a material construct. But your perspective could be relevant, but it's not relevant because no construct for which you could move in again. No ideas you could utilize, whatever. It's not of importance or relevant, or something that is not irrelevant. Well, So, slide 6, quintessence, essence, whatever. No theory has an alternative on the idea plane of numbers, meaning, give me a second myself. Algebra essence. It's not possible here. If it's in the case. Because if evolution is true, then don't know. We have to see for the ideas that come into place. But if evolution is not true, then we have A. If determinism is not true, B. When if evolution is true, B can be correct. Because it doesn't matter. We can't make a theory on the ideas of accounts. So determinism by A means B. Free will. Like, if you view determinism as something that is freely chosen by perspective, as a plane of existence, well, that could be, then you have B. Because if free will, like if determinism is true by A, then of course you have B, it's determined, but therefore you must have free will. And therefore the idea of justice is irrelevant, because for AB, therefore A. Circular reasoning at its finest, just without reasoning. So, Saka, go. This means that in any case, your conscious is not supposed to act evil without to know that it is supposed to deal with that, should deal with that, or should know that it should, like, because the idea that you can forgive someone is not calculatable, not countable to anything you do, unless you act on a base moral level. So you can't really calculate it or know it. It's impossible, it's irrelevant. And to go one step back, if evolution is creating something like alternatives, it's very important. It's very important. Like, evolution creates some alternatives that don't fit the paradigm. It's very important. You see that in your own spirit. That's why it should be true that you are a spirit. Or spirits. The case, in any case, is that evolution is causing undetermined consequences. Because every time something goes against the ideas of evolution, it just doesn't work. Evolution cancels that out. But it's not the problem, it's not the point. It's a problem, but it's not the point. The point is that if you view evolution as a process that is working towards nothingness, or a goal, or some idea, or some construct, or some quintessence, like some theory, in the theory, whatever, in the idea of soul, whatever, in the soul theory, idea, whatever, then you cannot always be the best. You cannot always be the strongest. and you cannot always be the most one who fits. The best one who fits, whatever. Doesn't matter. No, that matters myself. You can never be the one who is truly... Oh, that's interesting. That's another word. It's truly accommodated or assuming the situation. It's very important. No. I mean, yes, but no. And the consequences of your actions in evolution are suddenly not determinable. Like, you could just do anything and it doesn't matter. Evolution becomes random, but not really. And that's where the alternatives come into play. They create a new paradigm, an anti-paradigm, that creates some idea that's translucent or transcendent, whatever you want to call it. No, not transcendent, it's not. It's transcendental. But not translucent. No, translucent, yes, but not transcendent. And yes, definitely transcendental or trans. Trans-life, yeah, trans. And the point being is that for that, you suddenly have a whole new shift of ideas that are not in any way calculatable for anything, not for evolution, not for the beings in the evolution. That's why Benno theory for conscience is true. And I mean Armageddon, but not by some gods. So in the end, what should count is just don't do it. Don't be evil to other conscious. Because of all of these reasons. Like, even if you want to be evil and you realize it doesn't work, just stop. It doesn't work. Then you are just like a kid who's hammering his head against the wall and is throwing a tantrum by destroying himself, herself, itself. And the question is that in any way beneficial for anyone? Like, is it at any point in time, is it at any given moment important or beneficial for anyone to be evil? That's what I don't get. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense under rules. You can be evil under rules, yes. But I don't get it. I don't get the sense. Yes, it's okay, maybe. I do get it in a sense. Not really. In a sense. But it doesn't matter. It's wrong. I know how it would be possible. Like, if you would have a lot of people who are very low status towards a big group of very high status people, it works. Of course. But you need to reach that as a group, which is kind of difficult. Not impossible. Question being, if you wish to do evil, just don't do it because it's wrong. In my mind. And it's in my mind. But further than that, you can calculate how the person will react. And that's where all this comes into play. Don't be so stupid that that you do evil to someone that really hurts the person to expect anything. Anything. Like, ever. And I'm just loud in this video because I don't get it. It's just something I don't get. I don't get it. So, don't be evil. It's my conclusion. It's a conclusion. It doesn't matter.